Ushtave and radiant peace and happiness to everybody. I am doing another video on the YouTube sensation, the YouTube trend of From New Age to Jesus. And how, for the most part, not in every case, I think it's just trading in one form of bullshit for another. I do think that there are sincere conversions to Christianity, even from the New Age. But most of these videos I'm quite skeptical of, mainly because A, they are not going to a sort of sincere message of Jesus. Sell all your possessions, give it to the poor, follow me, and you shall have treasury in heaven. Or Luke 14:33, so likewise those of you who do not give up all that you have cannot be my disciple. He did not just tell one person that, he said that to a whole group of people at the Sermon on the Field. So, actually he told several people that in several passages of the New Testament. But yeah, it's that they're following an establishment Christianity. These mega churches that have a Starbucks that you can go to after service. Yeah, that makes me skeptical right there. Showing up on TBN, showing up on the 700 Club, that makes me skeptical. Especially if they are making more money being on the 700 Club than they've ever earned from those New Age books. That makes me skeptical. And don't get me wrong, since I consider Jesus to be a Saushant, one of the Saushants, people often ask me, do you see Jesus as the Savior? I see him as a Savior, but not the Savior. There are several Saviors in history, and perhaps there are some Saviors around today. And in a different video, I'll go into the Zoroastrian view of Savior or Saushant. But here's the thing: we live in a society where there is a social pressure to be Christian. At least where I live here in the United States. Okay. And I mean, much New Age I find quite dangerous. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it. So I have no doubt that people had these horrible experiences with the New Age. I've certainly heard of people going to some of these New Age retreats and coming back with psychosis. I've seen people come back with psychosis. People who followed Deepak Chopra and the likes. But because there's this social pressure in our society to be Christian, then the most available alternative to the New Age in the United States of America is going to be Christianity. But how many of these people actually prayed for something so pure, so to the bare bones? Something as simple as truth. Rather than going to truth through the filter of the form of Jesus, rather going to truth through a filter in the form of the Quran or the Old Testament or the New Testament or the Vedas, let's be fair, or the Vedas. Why not just go down to the very bare bones of truth and see where it takes you? In Zoroastrian terms, that word would be asha, that which is. Because I would like to share my experience and why I came to Zarathustra. Well, I didn't come to Zarathustra, he's just a man. But why I came to his thought-provoking teachings. Why I came to Ahura Mazda. And it's because I've actually tried the Jesus route. I actually tried the whole bit, crying on my hands and knees, asking for forgiveness, offering to give myself 100%, believing it. But it did not deliver the way Ahura Mazda delivered. Because Ahura Mazda, through Serosha, which means intuition, and through Spaintamanu, which means the progressive mentality, which is the logic and reason to discern intuition so that you could attain Vohu Mana, which means the good mind. And so, I found from chanting the Asham Vohu mantra, which in English it translates to, true righteousness is the best righteousness. It is radiant happiness. Radiant happiness comes to one whom righteousness is done for the sake of righteousness alone, without fear of punishment or expectation of reward. You see, when you set your mind to that intention, where you are focused on the right thing for the sake of it being the right thing, then you align yourself with truth, because your mind does not drift away into a potential future. You are not focused on greed. You are not doing something out of fear. If you are praising Ahura Mazda, you are praising Ahura Mazda for the sake of praising Ahura Mazda. Not because you are afraid of a punishment of what will happen if you don't. And so, when you put an intention out there, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through meditation, rather than putting a filter on the truth through the forms of men, through the forms of religious text written by men, why not just strip it down to the very bare bones and ask for clarity? As clarity is the purest intention. After all, if you accept the truth that is shown to you, as God will never punish anybody for not knowing the truth, but we create our own rewards through seeking the truth. And so just put no form on it, put no filter on it. Just seek the truth for the sake of clarity, for the sake of understanding the truth. And you know what? It's a lifelong process. It is a lifelong process to understand the truth. And that's what's beautiful about life. It is a constant learning process. And as long as you're progressing, you are on a good road. And God will not punish you. We create our own rewards and punishments. Ushtave, and radiant peace and happiness to everybody.